I don't think sway bars are a great idea. I've modified the suspension on my ND3 Miata, but it's not actually sway bars. That's a very common mistake. I'm going to give you guys 3 reasons why you should not first start with sway bars on your overly roly-poly and soft Miata. And instead, what I've started off with are coilovers. These are actually SuperMiata Tecnas with the sport springs. You can get them either as GT, the softer spring rates, or Sport, the stiffer spring rates. I went for the stiffer spring rates as I'm going to be taking this to track pretty regularly. And this is the cheaper of the 2 options. They have Zetas, which are the gold standard, the best coilovers that you're going to get for a Miata. These are the cheaper alternative that don't, first of all, break the bank quite as much. Those are $3,000. These are like $1,700, $1,800. And those have aluminum and they need, you know, servicing every 25,000 miles, which will cost you about $800 to $1,000 per service. Whereas the Tecnas don't really need that servicing. So cheaper and also easier to maintain, easier to live with. Although you are going to be having a bit of a trade-off. If you're chasing lap times, then yes, the Zetas are going to be a few tenths faster than the Tecnas. Now, these are specifically built for Miatas. Öhlins Road and Track are a very common coilover option. They have 90 millimeters of travel. If you get the long stroke for the rear, that's 111 millimeters, but the stock travel is 180 millimeters, and both the Zetas and the Tecnas give you the full suspension travel, whereas many other aftermarket options do not, because again, these are designed specifically for the Miata. And you may say, well, you don't really need that much travel, to which I would say, then why do the Miata Cup cars still retain the full 180 millimeters with their aftermarket suspensions? If it wasn't actually useful and helpful, then they wouldn't be running the Miata Cup cars with 180 millimeters of travel. So that's number 1. Next up, let's look at the ride height. Previously, it looked like a monster truck. Now we are quite a bit lower. The ride height in the front is 120 millimeters, and we have a 7 millimeter rake, which is why the rear is a bit higher. And the ground right now is tilted this way, which further exaggerates that difference. I'm following the SuperMiata setup guide. So they have some suggested suspension setup options, and this was the one that was more track focused. I'm only running -2 degrees of camber in the front and -1.8 in the rear. That's the max I can get right now because I haven't changed the offset knuckle bushings. Remember that these are double wishbone in the front, so you're not doing something like camber bolts as you would with the McPherson strut on a GR86. So I'll get the offset knuckle bushings installed later, and we'll get additional camber closer to 3.5 at that point. We'll also be able to increase the caster, which right now is around 6.5. Increasing the caster is going to give us better load up with the steering. We've also swapped out the stock Miata hubs for SuperMiata hubs, which are a bit beefier. They're going to aid in durability with regular track use, and there's also less deflection. So when you're cornering hard, you actually, based on certain tests, you can reduce your camber by like 0.5 just from deflection of that hub. So by having these beefier hubs, you're reducing the amount of deflection and you're not going to lose as much camber as you're cornering hard. Although I will say we're running these Falken 615K plus tires in a 215 section width. They're pretty low grip, and I'm not concerned as much with camber deflection here versus when I get some stickier tires. And these are wrapped around Konig Hypergram wheels, 17x8. And for those wondering, the reason why I went with a 215 section width on a 17x8 is simply because, number one, if you go 225, which would have been ideal, then you change the ratio of the sidewall and you're going to have a taller sidewall, which I did not want. And then also when you have a slight stretch to it, you actually have a sharper response because there's not going to be as much flex to the tires since they're already under a bit of tension. It just helps with the front end feeling a bit more immediate. I actually used to run 17x8 wheels with a 225/45 on my GR86, but I decided to go 215/40 here with the Miata. Full mod list, as always, is down in the description. Big shout out to TrackSpec in Fremont, California, who installed the coilovers and did the alignment. They did a fantastic job, and they're very professional, very easy to work with. I highly recommend. You can find their website link down in the description. Now, a lot of people with Miata say the first mod you should do are sway bars, and I actually disagree for 3 main reasons. You have to remember that the Miata stock suspension is quite soft. So if you go with sway bars with soft suspension, you're going to have significant compromises. The first, of course, being that as you approach a corner and you start braking, sway bars only help you with lateral body roll, right? They're not going to help you with dive as you brake or squat as you accelerate. So you're still going to have a lot of body motion in that axis, front to rear. The other thing is that your ride comfort will be compromised, because as you go over a bump, What a sway bar does is it reduces the level of independence between the right and the left side, so that if one side goes up, the other side goes up. And with a stiffer sway bar, you're going to be having a greater effect to match the wheel travel on both sides, such that if you go over a bump on one wheel, the other wheel will also respond. You're going to notice a significant decrease in your ride quality. And the fourth thing is that as you corner and you're pushing the limit of grip, when you go over a bump, you're going to have less stability, because again, both wheels are going to be tied. And if one wheel goes over a bump mid-corner, it's actually going to skip a little bit and feel a bit skittish and nervous mid-corner and more easily upset. So that's why I don't think sway bars are a great idea. Now, the main thing that you're looking for with sway bars are, of course, a more immediate front end, less body roll, sharper inputs. And while you can go with a really beefy sway bar to get a more immediate front end, you're going to pay the price in those three ways. Also, when you eventually do upgrade to coilovers and you have that really beefy sway bar, that sway bar may still be overkill, because you put the sway bar in with very soft suspension. And now when you have less soft suspension, much firmer suspension, that sway bar may be a bit too much. Now, for street use, these Tecnas are actually excellent. I do need to adjust the dampers. I'm at about halfway, so it's at 36 clicks. You always want to start at the very top, so you go all the way hardest, then you count backwards. If you start from the softest and count up, you can actually be mismatched, since it's not always a consistent number of clicks. You always want to start at the hardest and go down. So I'm at 18 down from the top end of 36, so I'm halfway, which is just the starting point. I do need to do some fine tuning, and that will also depend on the road. But right now, I already have this immediate nage to the front end. It is so much better than stock. And it gives you more confidence as you push the car, since otherwise, oh, here we go. Yep. Able to find that little bit of yaw, just like that. And you have so much more confidence doing that with a more immediate suspension. So some people think that the soft suspension is good for learning. I would disagree. If a car is overly soft or overly sharp, you actually lose out some of that naturalness and some of that input to output response. You want things that are predictable and natural. So when suspension is too soft, it takes too long for the car to set, and it can actually bite when you think it's going to react in a certain way, and you're still waiting, and then it ends up going over the edge. And a car that is too immediate can feel a bit twitchy, a bit nervous. So you want to find a middle ground. I think on street, right now, this is feeling much, much better. Again, I will need to adjust the damper settings here. What you essentially want to do is find the point at which you want the dampers in the softest setting possible that still gives you the body control that you want. Because ultimately, it's a trade-off between grip, the softer you go, and stability, the stiffer you go. That's obviously an oversimplification, but that gives you the gist of what you're trying to think about as you dial in the suspension, front and rear. And even as you start pushing the car on track, you can even make one corner a little stiffer or a little softer than the other side. It doesn't have to be necessarily symmetric right to left. So I will be doing a sway bar now that I do have coilovers. If I was only streeting this car, I don't think that sway bar would actually be necessary, because right now the body roll is very manageable and appropriate for a street car where you want comfort. Very bumpy road here. But I will be adding sway bars simply because on track, especially as you're going full load in one direction and then the other direction, like as an example at Sonoma at the S's, right? You're going full lateral grip one way with as you turn left, and then full grip the other way. You want to reduce the amount of time it takes for the car to set. So there, you're going to notice a bigger difference with sway bars. It'll be more appreciated. On street, at least, I don't think you should be, for obvious reasons, safety reasons. but I'll also go with a less aggressive sway bar. SuperMiata actually offers a sway bar that is specifically made for these Tecna Coilovers, so that's what I'll be going with, versus a bigger, heavier sway bar that I would have done if I kept stock suspension and did a sway bar first before coilovers, right? I'm actually taking the car to Laguna Seca tomorrow. I'm very excited because if you guys watched my Sonoma track videos with this, you'll know that one of my main complaints was that the car was simply too soft, and it felt very inappropriately soft for a racetrack, to the point where it reduces the amount of fun that you can have. And even in the POV camera footage, you can really see me leaning side to side as well. So this is gonna definitely help quite a bit. Now, as for my first impressions of these Tecna Coilovers, I gotta say I'm impressed, especially at the price point. These punch way above their weight class. Now, are they quite as good as Zetas? Obviously not, but for what they are and at this price point, I'm quite impressed. I do, again, need to dial in the damper settings. You want to be as soft as possible with the body control you want, and also want to look at the excess body motion after bumps. So after a big bump, if you're having a lot of bounces after that versus just one and setting, that means you're under damped, and you need to go a few clicks to the right, get it a bit stiffer, as an example. There's always going to be a trade-off between comfort and body control, but with better suspension, you take less of a hit to the ride comfort as you improve body control. And you are going to feel more of the lower amplitude, higher frequency chatter in the road when you go with the stiffer suspension. That's natural, but you don't want it to be punishing. And what I like with these Tecnas, even with the sport springs, not even the GT springs, is that while it is not as comfortable as stock, you're not really taking a big hit to the relative drive comfort in exchange for the big improvement you have with immediacy to your inputs, especially with the front end. It's a big difference, and having better body control, which are of course interrelated. Anyway, my friends, that's the update. Let me know what you think I should do next for the Miata. It's going to be sway bars and OKBs, offset knuckle bushings, and that's going to give me more camber, more immediacy with the front end. After that, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So leave a comment down below what you guys think I should do next to this Miata build. Much love. Subscribe if you want to see some updates to this build, including how the car performs at Laguna Seca, and I'll see you all in that next one.